inspired by the power of our words. And I've been so busy thinking about the amount that I read every day and how important it is that we keep reading and that we have access to free and open journalism and information. I wanted to talk about that today. The written word is validation. The Harvey Weinstein scandal broke because Ronan Farrow published an investigative article in the New Yorker which popped the bubble of secrecy that had long protected Hollywood's culture of toxic sexism, masculinity, and abuse. The written word is revolution. Upton Sinclair's 1906 novel, The Jungle, exposed corruption in the meatpacking industry, which spurred reforms that led to the creation of the Food and Drug Administration. Deafblind author and activist Helen Keller's world transformed once she learned language. She said, "Once I knew only darkness and stillness. My life was without past or future, but a little word from the fingers of another fell into my hand that clutched at emptiness, and my heart leaped to the rapture of living." To be isolated by pain or fear is a terrible burden. But through story, people discover that they are not alone, that their experience is not wholly unique, and anyone who writes has the opportunity to give voice to the silence and to reveal what has been hidden. Ideas and experiences must transform themselves from images locked within our individual minds into language to exponentially increase their power. The poet Gregory Orr says, "Survival begins when we translate our crisis into language, where we give it symbolic expression as the unfolding drama of self and the forces that assail it." Whether our words take the form of a poem, a short story or novel, an article or essay, or even an eloquent and powerful tweet, they have the power to transform those who hear them, thereby creating an alchemical reaction that sparks the imagination and kindles fires of inspiration or devastation. Storytellers are keepers of the human flame. History, tradition, morality, lessons, inspirations. Storytellers salve wounds, heal broken hearts, and inspire us to push beyond the limits of what we believe possible. This facility with language gifts its practitioners with the ability to imbue another's imagination with a strange sort of lucid dream in which the dreamer, the reader, both observes and participates in the action of the story. Like an intense dream, a good story will quicken the heart, inflame the loins, prick the eyes with tears, and manipulate the heart like clay in a rough or tender hand. When storytelling began to shift from an oral tradition to a graphic one, it was the act of the writing and the words themselves that contained and transmuted influence. Stories, poems, and songs are incantatory rituals that invoke the dream state, and thus should be honored and treated with care, for they have the power to transform our thinking, behavior, our feelings, and our lives. Writers are magicians who build entire worlds out of nothing. We train ourselves to handle this most primitive and powerful of human energies by charming the snakes of our traumas into hypnotized submission and making them perform for the delight or elucidation of our audiences. We absorb sociocultural and political poisons and generate an anti-venom of palliative words. Because we're so aligned with the ancient entities of the story gods, we cannot resist the lure of the vast black universe within them. It calls to us, calls us home. Via incantations on the page, our words summon spirits, our characters, from the ether and call upon the dead, our memories, to prophesy the fates of the living, our readers. So perhaps it's better to deem us necromancers, wizards who communicate with those beyond normal world reach. In Garth Nix's wonderful YA novel, Sabriel, a young female necromancer crosses into the frigid waters of the afterlife, armed only with a sash of bells. Each of the 7 bells has a name, and its own tone and power. With them, Sabriel commands the restless living dead to walk through the final gate into true and permanent death. Likewise, poetry, fiction, memoir, plays, and songs possess their own unique tones and powers of subjugation and release. Even the youngest child understands the concept of magic words such as abracadabra or open sesame, because words themselves are physical bodies, energy made manifest like us. Each work we create resonates at a visual, verbal, and sensual level. Good stories, and by that I mean those which connect with us on some level, whatever it is for you, cast a profound and lasting spell that can incite change. For some writers, this opportunity to present an unfiltered version of self is liberating, while for others, exposure of one's own authenticity can be terrifying. Just as a forensic pathologist will analyze the stomach contents of a corpse during an autopsy, so too must you analyze the cathartic ejecta of your creative mind. And just as a purgative can cause painful, wretched retching, you understand that once you get it all out, you'll feel better. You'll have expelled the poisons from your system and the cultural systems that rely on secrecy and silence to proliferate. A silence, as Audre Lorde famously said, that will not protect you. Some writers bend to the old saw to write what you know. But if we only write what we know, entire genres of literature will disappear. It's our capacity to write what we don't know that allows for visionary literature that heals the grossness and injustices we've witnessed or buried within ourselves and helps us as individuals and societies to heal. The world today feels like it's going to hell in a handbasket, and it can be hard to remain optimistic when constantly confronted with so much disaster, suffering, negativity, and stupidity. To this I say, choose wisely worlds that heal you and comfort you. Read poetry, sing, keep a journal, escape into a good book. Balance the news and articles necessary to keep you informed with beauty and light wherever and whenever you can find it. I encourage you to write your way through the shitstorm that is our current political administration. Audre Lorde says, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. This is art as activism. Your words, my words, our words are a wake-up call. So sound the alarm, take action, and write.
Thank you so much for coming up here and presenting you all. Thank you, Marivi, Mona, Kirsten, Sophia, Stacy, Lizz, and Kaden for sharing yourselves to the community. So please give them a round of applause. So, little shameless plug before we move to Q&A.